I'd like to welcome everyone to the March 9th meeting of the New Bern Board of Aldermen. The prayer tonight will be given by Alderman John Kinsey.
Welcome to the Board of Aldermen. Father God, we thank you for bringing us together again, one to another. Father, we ask you for wisdom, understanding, and guidance that we will be about the city business to do well tonight, to move the city forward. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Alderman Bingle. Here. Alderwoman Harris. Alderman Astor.
Here.
Mayor Outlaw.
Here.
Alderman Kinsey.
Here.
Alderman Bess. Present. Alderman Odom.
Here.
Okay. At this time, do we have a request for petitions of citizens? Thank you. Vicky Vitale. Vicky, come on up and please give us your name and address for the record.
Hi, I'm Vicki Vitale, and I live at 1211 Petite Terre in New Bern, North Carolina.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'm an artist, and I have a studio in Artisan Square. Every time I drive in from Hancock Street, this is what you see. I'm working with Foster Hughes in the hopes of getting a new fence and a gate enclosing the area, so it'll be more appealing, seeing that this is the center of downtown New Bern. We started out with a project that Ms. Bengal gave us an opportunity to do back in October. And if you would show the next image. This is the panels before. And then if you can disperse the others or show them that last picture.
Those are the only two.
Okay, so that was the before, and you have the after. We'd like to continue doing murals in Artisan Square to make it a public art venue for tourists to come and visit. I've been the chairperson for Beartown Bears, and I also went around during the Christmas holidays asking the merchants to put white lights in their windows. Both of those projects have been huge successes, and I'd like to see a vision of putting murals in Artisan Square as another one. I'd like to introduce Jesse Doyle. He's the artist that did the painting for us at Ms. Bengal's. And if there's any questions as far as parts, so I'm actually looking for financial monies to be able to proceed with this next project.
Hi, how's it going? Jesse Doyle. I reside at 305 Rockledge Road in Riverbend. Just moved here recently 5 months ago and teamed up with Vicky Vitale for these abstracts and these paintings. Moving from these large-scale canvas paintings down to the urban and industrial spaces that have sort of been forgotten about in New Bern. When I moved here, I noticed these locations, and it doesn't take much to just bring a little bit of energy and some good energy to these little areas, around the town. Artisan Square would be a great start for us. An average job of 32 feet by 8 feet tall would run about $1,800 for supplies, labor, materials, paint, and so forth. So all included, that's an estimate idea. So if we begin to kind of pick at each of these locations around the city, after a year or two, we could have a pretty beautiful art walk, and just moving forward and expanding the art community. So I think that's all we have tonight.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you for your presentation.
Mayor, just to add to, staff is currently under contract with someone for the replacement of that enclosure. So that construction should be occurring very soon. And just to kind of put it as everyone, I'm not sure everyone probably knows that it's called Artisan Square now, but this is the area behind where the Bay Leaf and the Cow Cafe and some of those areas are. That parking lot back in that area there has kind of been termed as Artisan Square now. So as you recall, that was something that came before you not too long ago regarding the usage of that parking lot during this COVID period for certain businesses to expand into so that they could operate. So just wanted to add that to your knowledge.
Okay, our next petition is having to do with Vietnam Memorial Wall, and that George Halleck and Dave Nelson, if you'd like to come forward and do your presentation, give us your name for the record and your address.
My name is George Halleck, 320 Plantation Drive, New Bern, North Carolina.
And I'm Dave Nelson. I'm the information officer for the Wall Committee, and I listen to George and what he tells me. He's going to tell you what you need to know.
Yeah, it's been a year now since we stood before you, and it's hard to believe a year has gone by, but we were asking for the use of one shuttle bus to help people traverse that short distance, quarter mile from Temple Baptist Church to Lawson Creek Park. As you know, last year we were supposed to get the Vietnam Wall on March 26th, and the COVID virus beat us to it. 10 days before the wall was due to arrive, it was canceled, not only for New Bern, but for the rest of the country. There was no showing of the wall last year at all. When we lost the wall, we kept our committee intact, and we worked diligently to convince Arlington, Virginia, that we deserve to get the wall back here. And so this year will be the first city in the United States to get the wall. It's due to arrive on April the 6th, and it's due to leave April the 11th. We only need the bus on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and a half a day on Sunday, and we can modify the bus as the crowds appear, or whether they're up or down. Last year we were expecting up to 20,000 people to attend. We've cut that in half. We think this year with the COVID and so forth, we'll probably end up with somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 people to come. And we hope that after the wall comes and goes, it'll be a positive experience on all the citizens of our fair city. And any questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
With COVID and using the bus system, with 10,000 people coming, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, we think the bulk of the people we'll be able to handle in the park. We'll be diverting anybody, not necessarily just disabled, anybody who needs help into the park, and we have special parking right close to the wall, so there'll be easy access to the park. We'd only use the bus for overflow, and again, the distance is only a quarter mile from Temple to the gate of the park. And the ball's open 24 hours a day, so it won't be like a concert where everybody has to arrive at one time and get seated. People will be coming in all hours of the day and night.
I was just curious about, the cleaning up, doing each trip there.
Well, I know there'll be social distancing on the bus, and we'll have to give some thought to wiping down. We'll have plenty of wipes, sanitizing stations, safe distancing signs. Go ahead, sir.
Alderman Kinsey, to address that question, we did look up the CDC guidelines. We would not be required to clean the bus in between trips. We would have to clean the bus at the beginning of the shift, and at the end there would be social distancing in place on the bus. And I had a conversation with the gentleman earlier today. They would be required to have hand sanitizing stations at the drop-off and pickup zones, and that masks would be required to be on the bus if you choose to approve this request.
How many people will be able to ride the bus at one time?
And that's the thing. We do have a 64-passenger bus. We have not gone on to look and see exactly how many could fit on that bus. If it's a family member, they can sit side by side, but if it's strangers, there's got to be that 6-foot distancing. So to give you a great idea, probably approximately 20 to 25 people on the bus for one trip.
Thank you.
Mr. Stevens, as we discussed, would it not be less expense on part of the city to provide the bus and to provide the police personnel for folks that are walking across?
Yeah, certainly would be much cheaper to provide just a busing opportunity. My guess is, and gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, but
Sure.
my guess is that the majority of the busing needs will occur on the day of the 6th, whenever you're planning for the major event of Mr. North to come in.
It would be the 8th and the 11th.
Yeah, the 8th and the 11th. So those are the days where I think the majority of the people will arrive. As they stated, the facility will be open 24 hours a day. The park will be open 24 hours a day and monitored during that time period, and people can visit, obviously, at their discretion. So the likelihood that we're going to need to bus a lot of people, I think, is probably pretty slim, other than those 2 days. We may have to bus some. So at that point, I think we have the police department kind of on notice, and if the traffic seems to kind of be a concern at that point, and people, we recognize that there's a lot of pedestrian traffic, then certainly we could probably make a call at that point and have some people over there.
Okay, and we approved that last year, but obviously that was for last year, and we would need to give you direction, or what would you like? Do you just need some direction from the board at this time on the bus?
Yeah, I think that would probably be the best if you want to give us the direction to move forward, kind of like they had requested.
I don't remember if we did a formal motion last time or not. Do you? And do you need one?
I think direction is fine.
Okay, could I see a show of hands for the board members that would be okay with the bus service for the event?
Great.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you
Yes,
to
sir.
all
Thank
Aldermen.
you. Thank you
Appreciate
for all you're doing. We have any more petitions at this time, Madam Clerk? That's
No,
it.
sir.
Let's go to consent agenda.
Make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and second. Alderman Bingle, was there anything on there that
No, sir.
you're good?
Yes.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Item number 9.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 9 is public hearing and consideration of the board to adopt a resolution approving a contract with BB&T for the financing of radio system upgrade and the Pleasant Hill Community Center building. As you recall, the board has previously authorized the construction of a community center in the Pleasant Hill area and also an upgrade to the citywide radio system for our public services and safety services as well. To finance both of these projects alone, not to exceed $1,803,895 will be secured. This amount represents $300,000 for the community center and $1,503,895 for the radio upgrade. The proposals that you see before you in your packet, we sought several different firms for that. BB&T was the only one to respond. The repayment period that you will see in the terms of the agreement are 10 years at a fixed rate of 1.75%. The loan can be repaid at any time with a 1% prepayment penalty, or during the second half of the term, it can be paid off without penalty. After conducting a public hearing, the board is asked to consider adopting the resolution and approve the contract with BB&T at the recommendation of our Director of Finance. We're happy to answer any questions.
Well, my only question is I just continually can't quite understand why nobody else wants to bid on. I mean, the interest rate is good. Well, I just really don't understand why other banks are not wanting to bid on these things. Mary, can you give us any background on that? I know you're sending these out to the major banks around here and just not getting responses.
Yeah, we do send out all of them to the major banks in the area. Several of them don't have money. Some of them are not allowed to be. They're currently not in a financial situation to loan. I think it's happening with home buyers as well. I think that banks are just been a little bit leery about loaning things. BB&T has been wonderful to work with. They've actually Truist is their new name. I'm trying to learn to say that, and they have been willing to work with us willingly, and their rates are good. But the rest of them basically just called me and said, I'm not going to waste my time sending you anything. They didn't even want to send me any paperwork.
Well, I mean, your experience in Holly Springs, did you have a lot of these situations like this?
Never. But I just think it's a different lending climate today than it was 5 years ago. Yeah, no, we always had quite competitive bidding, but I just think in the last couple of years things have changed. I think COVID made a big difference.
Mary, how many proposals did you send out?
I asked requests for bids for 5 different banks. I got 3 phone calls back, 2, no response after following up several times. I got 3, 2 of them called back and said, we are not going to bid. PNC and Wells Fargo were the 2.
At your last place you was at, how many do you normally send out there? I'm just curious.
About the same, about 5. There's smaller banks aren't really interested in loaning us money right now either, but it's a different climate we're working in. I don't expect this climate to last forever, but this is where we are today.
Okay, I just think a good checks and balances, at least getting a couple of bids, but thank you for your efforts. Anything else from staff before we open the public hearing? Anything else?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, I'm gonna open a public hearing at this time. Anybody like to come forward, ask questions about purchase financing for a radio system upgrade in the Pleasant Hill Community Center building? More than welcome to come up.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion second to close the public hearing. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Motion carries.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Questions? I would like to make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the contract with BB&T for financing of the radio system upgrade in the Pleasant Hill Community Center building.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Bingle.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 10.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 10 is a resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 115 Hillmont Road. Sandra Rogers has submitted an offer of $7,500 to purchase the vacant half-acre lot at 115 Hillmont Road. The tax value of the property is $15,000. This offer represents 50% of the value. The property was acquired by the city and county in May of 2019 due to tax foreclosure. The unpaid taxes at that time were $6,349.65. If the property is sold for the initial bid of $7,500 that you've received, the city is projected to receive $3,244.62. The county will get $4,255.28 from the proceeds. A memo has been included from Ms. Blanco, our city clerk, along with relative information that we typically provide with this. So we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does the board have questions?
Yes, I do. This is an upset bid process, but at this point, has the actual applicant that's applied for this, have they talked with our redevelopment commission, I mean, not redevelopment, but our development services to see if there was any issues, concerns with that parcel, or
I'm
just
not
want
sure.
them to be aware if there is?
Yeah. I think the owner's here, or the person
Okay.
who submitted the request, so we'll let her answer.
Sandra Rogers, 1516 Moose Boulevard, Newburgh. I have spoken with Developmental Services at length regarding this, and they are anxious to move forward.
Well, Ms. Rogers, I just have a question to you. I want to know, that's within Ward 5, it's within the Pleasant Hill community, and I am the alderman for that ward. And I just wanted to know, what was your future use for that particular parcel, if you don't mind sharing that?
No, I'm going to do a cabin conversion. I'm going to go tiny, basically. And was hoping to get a large enough lot to add additional ones so family can stay and guest quarters, whatnot.
Okay, well, hopefully this will pan out for you, and I'll be excited to see that.
Me too. This is going to be fun. We'll probably see each other a lot shortly.
All right. Call on me anytime.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the resolution to initiate the upset bid process for 115 Hillmont Road.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Odom.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 11.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 11 is a resolution approving an additional street light on Evergreen Lane. Citizen has requested that additional street light on Evergreen Lane be installed. Staff evaluated the request, determined that the area does not meet the city's light standard, and recommended the addition of one additional street light. The installation of the light and the pole will cost $2,497.98. The monthly utility charge for that service will be $20.28. That will be added to the budget for the Public Works Department. There's a memo that's been included from Mr. Bouchard and attached with other supporting documentation.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion we adopt the resolution approving additional street light on Evergreen Lane.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Bingle.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 12.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight is item number 12 is a resolution approving a water and sewer use agreement with Goshen Medical Center Incorporated for tax parcel IDs 8-206-132 and 8-206-133. Goshen Medical Center Incorporated is proposing to develop a new medical facility on a vacant 2.66 acre lot on Highway 17 South directly across from Trent Creek Road. This is outside of our city limits, but it is in our ETJ, I do believe. There is a desire to connect to the city's water and sewer collection system. The facility will have a calculated average daily water and sewer demand of 2,500 gallons per day, which would require a standard water connection and short sewer main extension. Section 74-74 of the city's ordinances provides that a written water and sewer use agreement be entered into to outline the roles and responsibilities of the parties to establish a service for the proposed project. I'm happy to answer any kind of questions. There's a memo included along with supplemental information from Mr. Hughes, our city engineer. Happy to answer any questions.
Board have questions?
And Mark, will they be requesting annexation?
I'll ask, I believe that is the case. Typically, as our policy for connection to our sewer and water, it is a requirement of them to request it if they are outside of our city limits.
And how far outside the city limits would this be?
Not far.
Adjoining our city limits, yeah.
Okay. So it wouldn't be a issue with public safety?
I don't think so. I believe this is, Jordan, this is directly right in front of the elementary school out there. Is that correct?
I mean, there's not any additional lateral expenses of line extensions on our part, is there?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir. Jordan confirmed that's not the case.
My question is, how did you get Ward 1? It says on there Ward 1. I assume that's going to be part of Ward 6.
Don't know that.
Ward 1?
Yeah, that's what it says, Ward 1.
Reboundary.
I just wanted to make sure.
What's the pleasure of the board on this item?
Mayor, if there's no more questions, I'd like to make a motion we adopt a resolution approving a water and sewer use agreement with Goshen Medical Center for tax parcel IDs 8-206-132 and 8-206-133.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call starting with Alderman Odom.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 13.
Mayor, item number 13 is a resolution approving a financial assistance agreement with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality for the VW-DC FAST program grant. In 2020, the Department of Public Utilities submitted a grant application for the Volkswagen DC Fast Charger grant through the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality. The city has been awarded this grant in the amount of $128,715.96, and the funds will be used to install 2 electric car fast charging devices in downtown New Bern. The grant requires matching funds up to $32,825.68. This match will be met in the form of staff labor and materials to help with the installation of this. There's a memo that's included from Mr. Bouchard, our Director of Public Utilities, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
Mayor. Question probably for Charlie, I would assume. I didn't really know what they sent it to me for, but somebody sent me an email today. What's Charlie's name? Sent me an email today with a video of a charging station where the first car shorted out, and I think it was like 36 seconds the car caught on fire, and then they were all connected together somehow, and the fire just spread. Is there some sort of safety concern or precaution that would be in place? I don't know if that could have been 10 years old. I don't know, but I'm just curious.
That's a great question. I'm sure we'd have to do some research. I know Charlie's got some staff here. Do you have any knowledge of that? Sorry? Yes, sure. If you got something to say to that.
I haven't heard about a widespread issue with these charging stations.
I haven't.
I just want to make sure that we're not susceptible to that.
Well, Josh Poston, 3207, Macy Court. The charging stations will be 2 of them. The DC fast charge stations are 2. They're going to be operating essentially in parallel, not in series, which to you means that they're not in line with one another. So if one catches on fire, there should be safety measures in place to isolate one from the other, and that falls on the manufacturer data charge point. So we build the electrical infrastructure up to that point, just the transformer, and then they connect to our transformer. And everything from our transformer to the car is theirs and their liability.
And then my last question is the cost of the use of it. How is that handled? Is this like a pay machine that they pay to use it, or?
Yes. So there's a phone number right on the front of it. It's a 1-877 number, and that's the contact charge point. It's their baby. You know, we just provide the energy for it. We have a rate for, we have a rate for them. We charge them on the front end, and then what they charge the customer on the back end is their responsibility, their problem, troubleshooting, all that's all on them.
Okay. Thank you.
One question before you leave.
Yep.
What is the future of these charging stations? Are you looking to put more, or just starting out with just these 2? Could you give me a little information on that part? What's the plans?
I think I'll try to answer that. The future of that really kind of depends on the direction the board wants to go with that. We have some private development entities, such as the Harris Teeter location in Carolina Colors. They have a couple of charging stations. I know that Tesla was looking at several charging stations at the new Circle K that was developed right there at Highway 70 and MLK. And we'll have these 2 located there. Are you aware of any other ones that we have throughout the city?
Yeah, Tesla's, they're circling on Smithfield.
Yep.
For a DC fast charge system. There's also a level 2 charge coming through the same Volkswagen grant, which we'll be ready to present to you once that's finalized. But it's a slower charge, level 2. What we're discussing today is what's called a level 3. It's a higher voltage, a lot more energy, but that means that we make a lot more money from revenues from it. But yeah, that's what it all boils down to.
So
But I would say ultimately,
we're looking at 3 different locations, or 2 locations. Which?
Three locations right now that I'm aware of, with this one being added. But I'm sure that maybe some more will be coming online. It really is kind of a private development driven, unless the board wants to move forward with us installing those in other locations. But right now we don't have any specific plans to go spend electric fund money to do so. Most of everything we're looking at right now are Volkswagen grants. And as you recall, this is from I think a legal settlement they had several years back with regards to the environmental discharge that they had. So they had to mitigate some of that legal issue. They agreed to install or set aside money for installation of electric charging vehicles throughout whoever the applicants are throughout North Carolina.
So they'll be buying electrical power from the city?
The purchase of the power will be from the city, yes. And we would charge them a retail rate.
Alderman Best, you have a question?
No, it's been answered. Thank
I
you.
have a question. Just to clarify, the responsibility of this being put in is that 1-800 number, so if there's any issues, constituents would not get with the board, they would call that number if there's any issues? Like, we don't have any responsibility, we're not held liable for anything that happens?
Well, I can't control who they're going to call, but there is a phone number right on the front of it. And so if they call us, we'll direct them to that number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board on this item number 13?
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt a resolution approving a financial assistance agreement with the North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality for the VWDC FAST Program Grant.
Second.
Motion and second. Let's have a roll call, starting with Alderman Bingle.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 14.
Thank you, Mayor. Item number 14, and actually item number 15, if the board would like to do both of these the same, are kind of tied to what you just approved. Item number 14 is consider adopting a budget ordinance amendment for fiscal year 2020-2021 electric fund operating budget. This is associated to an amendment will transfer $32,826 from the electric fund to the 2019 electric improvements fund for the cost of the engineering design, project management, equipment, materials needed for the in-kind match that you just approved. And then item number 15 is the 2019 electric improvements project fund, which is recognizing the grant that we're receiving of $128,715.96 and the transfer of the $32,826 to the electric fund for the in-kind services. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If the board would like to handle these individually, we can, but they are both associated with what you just approved.
Board have questions?
Mayor, if not, Scott, can we do these together?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion, we adopt the budget ordinance amendment for FY 2021 electric fund operating budget and amending the 2019 electric improvements project fund.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call, starting with Alderman Odom.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 17.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Item number 16 is adopt an ordinance amending the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Fund. As we have recently discussed, the city has been awarded $194,483 in CDBG coronavirus funding. The city's CDBG annual action plan provides that the funds will be used to respond to the growing effects of the historic public health crisis. Specifically, funds in this particular matter will be used to assist low and moderate income citizens of New Bern with utility and rent assistance. The administration of these funds will be provided by a local nonprofit that has been designated as a subrecipient. Ms. Hogan has provided a memo in your packet, and we're here to answer any questions you may have.
Does the board have questions?
Just a suggestion, after we approve this, can it be put on our website, who the approving, person, the, what's the word I'm looking for, the person that's gonna facilitate it so that, we can repost it on social media?
Certainly, our subrecipients, I think there were two of them, if I'm recalling correctly. Is that right, Mr. Ruggieri? Two recipients of that? Okay. So we'll make sure that's posted and that Colleen gets that information out on our social media and our website.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt an ordinance amending the Community Development Block Grant Coronavirus Fund.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, let's have a roll call, starting with Alderman Bingle.
Alderman Bingle.
Yes.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes.
Alderman Astor.
Yes.
Mayor Outlaw.
Yes.
Alderman Kinsey,
Yes.
Alderman Best.
Yes.
Alderman Odom.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 17.
Mayor, if it's okay with the board, I'd like to table item number 17 from discussion to a later date. This had to do with the triangle piece of property that the city owns that Alderman Harris and myself have been working on probably for 2 or 3 years now, trying to turn that into an amenity for our citizens, and we're just not there yet, and this may be a little premature, believing that we need to have a full plan and cost associated for it before we go and close the street. So I'd like to just table this at this time.
Okay. Would you like can we have that form of a motion?
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we table item number 17 to consider an ordinance to amend traffic and vehicles to close a portion of Poliquin and Norwood Streets to vehicular traffic.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. The motion carries. Let's go to appointments. Alderman Bingle.
None tonight.
Alderwoman Harris.
None tonight.
Alderman Astor.
None tonight, sir.
Alderman Kinsey.
None, sir.
Alderman Best.
None.
And Alderman Odom.
None, sir. Thank you.
Attorney's report. City Manager's report.
Several things real quick, Mayor. As of March the 8th, 2021, we have a total of 174 emails that we have received and forwarded to the Attorney General and our legislators, Senator Sanderson, Representative Steve Tyson, and Representative John Bell, all of those asking basically to share it with the other colleagues. We have had multiple discussions with a new vendor for providing fiber and internet and television services. Those discussions, I think, have been very fruitful thus far. We've additionally had a conversation this afternoon with the cities of Fayetteville, Greenville, and Jacksonville, who are also being courted by the same firm, and those proved very productive for us as well. So those are turning out quite fruitful with the new route. But we are still continuing to receive some complaints and emails, which we are forwarding on as directed by the board. We'll continue to do so unless the board wants to direct me to have a cutoff date for that. But until so, we're going to continue to send those regarding these customer service issues, because obviously people are still having them. Happy to answer any questions on that.
Well, I just want to be a facilitator of opportunity for somebody's got to, in lieu of the fact that we don't have anything actually to regulate them with. I would like to see the city continue to be a clearinghouse for complaints, because obviously they don't do a very good job of responding when folks are complaining to them. So I want to continue the website Suddenlink complaints that is on our website, and I'd like to continue to process these, collate them, and send them to some of our representatives and to Congressman Greg Murphy and to other folks that might have interest in this very unfortunate situation in our city for the safety and education of our residents.
I just also, Mayor, would like to add that we all, as a board, every single one of us, have taken this issue very seriously, and that we have worked very hard in trying to bring attention to this, and that we hope at our next meeting we will have an agreement with this new company to enter into this market and go to work. So I want the citizens to know, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but we're moving as fast as we can to make something happen. And I want to thank the staff and everybody that has worked so hard in making this happen.
What else have you got, sir?
The other item is a matter of business I kind of brought up at our last board meeting that the board needs to take some action on. Obviously, as you can see, City Hall courtroom is getting ready to undergo quite significant repairs so that we will need to make a decision regarding moving this meeting. You all have tasked me with reaching out to the community college about the possible use of Oranger Hall. I talked to Dr. Stats, and he spoke with his staff. It is available for the dates of March 23rd and April the 13th for us to have board meetings at. They have sent to me an agreement that if we so choose to have our board meetings there, I need the board to make that motion regarding the dates, the times, and the location, and then I will execute this at your direction and send it on to the community college. We're looking at probably at least the March 23rd date, most likely the April the 13th date as well, because there's going to be quite an overhaul in here. So the next time we come in here, it'll be significantly changed, paint colors, carpet, everything. I just need direction from the board to move forward with this, if that's so choosing and desire of the board.
I say it's good to go to the other side of town. I think it'd be good to go out to Oranger Hall, and lots of rooms. So I'll make the motion that we change the venue of our meeting for March the 23rd and April the 13th at 6 p.m. to Oranger Hall at Craven Community College.
Second.
Motion and second. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same.
And with that move, I'm gonna take that as direction to go ahead and execute these agreements as well, so that I can get those over to the community college, and we can get it to our insurance provider, which we need to provide them an indemnification form as well. So that's just a matter of the business. So.
Anything else?
No, sir. That's all I have tonight.
I do want to ask you one thing. While we're doing all this work, I was in a church in England years ago, and there was an artist painting frescoes on the ceiling, and I was watching them do it, and you could literally see daylight through the roof because there was some holes in the roof. And I said to him, "Why would you be painting the ceiling and you got those holes up there in the roof?" He said, "Because I got a grant to do it, and they wouldn't give us a grant to fix the roof." And I'm very concerned about the weatherproofing of this building, and I understand the HPC end of it, but what are we doing about making sure that the work that's being done is precluding the elements from coming into the building? Are you doing anything, or are you not allowed to do something because of HPC? I know that we've talked about this, and can you update the board, or do you have concerns about the durability and shelf life of the new improvements if we continue to get the moisture into the building? Are there any type of waivers of sort we can get from on the state level, whatever, to?
I don't think, Mayor, I'm going to try to hit all of those points as I can. I'm going to say to the waivers, I would say absolutely not. Probably there's more restrictions than there are waivers about what we can do with this facility, being that it's in a historic district and it's a historic landmark. But with regards to work for this building to try to mitigate some of this stuff in the future, we have approached FEMA with one of our processes about possibly putting a sealer on the brick. Obviously, that was not, that's something that we heard that would not be approved at a HPC level or a state level for us to make that application. So what we're looking at now is doing some repointing of brick areas where obviously we have some water intrusion, and most of that is due to during the hurricanes, or during normal applications and normal days, you have rainfall events, and the brick tends to breathe and allow the moisture to go in and out a little bit. But when you're talking about hurricanes and you're talking about the pressure of the wind from a hurricane, it forces the water through and continues to force it through for hours and hours and hours. And that wind speed against those facial walls of the building cause water intrusion into the building and leads to this cancerous looking growth on the walls when you have plastered walls. And so that's typically indicative of the water intrusion due to wind-driven rain. And so what we have is most of that is occurring at locations where you have the brick pointing, which may have been compromised in the 100 years of the life of this building. So to bring this in for a landing, we are working with FEMA on a proposal because of the wind-driven impacts of storms on two sides of the building specifically. Most of the time it's the east, and I think it was the south, correct me if I'm wrong, Bobby, but I believe it was the south and the east sides of the building. But we may have to cover some costs for the north and the west sides of the building to make sure that the entire building is covered as far as the repointing, to do it all at one time, get it done. So we're working through some proposals with, I know Matt's working with our consultants on that, and also some architects to look at the potential options for us to do such things. And then Ms. Bingle's well aware of some of the needs for this building. Being an old historic structure, I don't get a sense that the board ever has an idea of selling this building or getting rid of it, or it not being within the city coffers as far as a facility or whatever. So at some point or another, we're going to have to spend some money to maintain this old historic building, and we can't always rely on a hurricane to give us funds to be able to do that, so we're going to have to invest some money. I will say that we have made some significant strides. The downstairs, down in the basement, has been revamped as far as the kitchen and the damage that was from Hurricane Florence. It's been repainted. We're now getting ready to move up to this floor, hence the reason why we just had the approval to move to an alternative location to fix the walls and do some repainting on this floor, some carpeting. And then we're going to move back down to the first floor, back up to the third floor after those two processes go. So there's lots that really need to be done. Alderman Odom has requested that staff look into and do a full-blown building needs assessment across the city. That will be shared with, I think, some of the board members, maybe set up a committee. I don't know what your intent is. I know you had asked for this information. We have some of that information already compiled, but ultimately, I think in building a strategic plan about maintaining our existing structures, especially the old historic ones that we don't plan on ever getting rid of, it's pretty important for us to maintain those every single year or set up some kind of continual maintenance plan. And sometimes it costs large money. If anybody wants to take a look at some of the existing windows we have in this room here and what the conditions of them are. At some point or another, we're going to have to look at rebuilding most of the windows in this facility. There's 85 windows in City Hall. Is that correct, ma'am? 85 windows in City Hall. And to rebuild some of these windows, you're looking at $5,000 to $10,000 a window when you're talking about historic windows that you can't just order off a Pella website or any other window maker website that makes windows. So we're running into some issues like that, and I think as far as proper maintenance and improvements in the future, that's things as far as capital improvements we're going to have to bring to the board for consideration.
Okay. Well, thank you for that information.
Mayor, I think just today, and I don't know if Mary has seen it yet or not, but just today, the mitigation letter was prepared, and it may have been sent to our FEMA PDMG person, Philip Hamilton, requesting somewhere in like $202,000 to do the south and east side of the building. So to do the other two sides of the building, which would probably be our responsibility, you're probably looking at another $200,000. But FEMA just would not approve the outside sealant, and there's nothing else. We've all been working on it, and there's just really nothing else that we know what to do to try to mitigate the water from seeping in, other than to do a repointing of the building, which is something that should be approved under the mitigation grants.
Which with this building, repointing is not an easy task, because if you ever looked at the width of the mortar joints of this building, they're way smaller than typical mortar joints of a typical brick building. So that will be a task in and of itself.
I'll send you a copy of that.
Anything else, Mr. Stevens?
No, sir, that's all.
Mr. Stevens, while we still are under the city manager's report, I'm going to let you help me out on this. Chief Summers, could you come up to the podium or thereabouts? Go ahead.
Sure. I was bringing to the attention to the mayor. I know the chief probably doesn't like a ton of spotlight, but I will say that I wanted to say thank you to the chief for his years of service that we have here at the city. This will be his last, I guess, official board meeting as our chief of police. As our next board meeting will probably be swearing in the new chief of police. But I just want to extend my thanks and gratitude for the chief and all his work that he's had over the 9 years that he's been employed here. He's been a great colleague, a great friend, a great mentor in a lot of respects, and I just I think a lot of things. So, thank you,
Chief, might be some folks want to make a few comments. I just want to really, you've been here as long as I've been on the board, and I really appreciate what you've done for the city, and particularly, I really appreciate what you've done with the churches and the ability to, work through the pastoral association, and they know you, you know them, they're very comfortable with you, and you've left a very good relationship. And I know that anytime I've had an issue, and there's been quite a few, that, very quickly you've always responded to my emails, and that's just says a lot about you. I know I was fortunate and honored to be able to attend an event, I don't know, a year and a half ago or so, over at the Episcopal Center, and it was quite a tribute to you. And I had met some of your family before, but I got to meet, I guess, about all of your family that night, and I know how important your family and your home life is to you, and it just speaks volumes about you. And so, while you're the chief and we're elected officials, there is that demarcation of sorts. I just want you to know you're. I think a whole lot of you, and I really appreciate what you've done for us as a city. Is there anybody else?
Well, Chief, I'd like to say thank you for a job well done. And enjoy your life, your retirement. Thank you for your service.
Chief, one of the things that I'd like to say is it's nice when you can, as an alderman, when I can pick up the telephone and call one of your officers, and they're very professional, and they always get back to me with a solution or an answer, and that's a direct reflection on your leadership. And I enjoyed the time when I was fire chief and you were police chief, when we got to bicker back and forth a little bit, especially when it comes to budgets. But you've been a wonderful leader to the community, and I want to thank you for your time. And just enjoy your retirement, man. It's a nice thing. It's beautiful.
It's a nice thing.
I was going to just basically echo what the rest of my colleagues are saying. Thank you for your leadership, and if you get bored, we always have the Citizens Academy. You come volunteer. But again, thank you, especially what the mayor said about with the churches and the community. Is very important to have that relationship. So thank you, and I hope that passes on with the new person that we have here, especially with your guidance in that transition. So thank you very much.
Again, we want to ditto what everybody says, and I want to thank you for your support, for your friendship. It was always great. Well, whether I was in office or out of office, I always felt that I could reach out to you and speak to you and get you to assist me in whatever I needed, and that's a great testament to you. And thank you for your great show of faith in this community. The first thing I noticed about you the first time I was an alderman and went to a ceremony was how you had that Bible front and center. So thank you for your commitment to God first and then to our city. I really appreciate it.
Chief, the great thing is you no longer have to take those phone calls from Alderman Bingle. I'll piggyback on what Alderman Astor said about you guys having that friendly bickering back and forth. What kind of shoes do you have on? Regular shoes? Because Alderman Astor, I believe he said he wore flip-flops his last few weeks whenever he was fire chief. I remember that from his ceremony. But again, nothing really more to say other than thank you for your dedication to what you've done for the city. I know that when you pick up and you move your career to a different location, you really have to start all over. And what you did here and what you built here was very special. We appreciate your dedication. Thank you.
And we want you to say a few words, but before you do,
Mayor Outlaw.
Alderman Best.
Yeah, Alderman Best.
Yeah. I just want to say congratulations, Chief, and I'm going to be really sad not being able to see that handsome face up here in City Hall and running around the city. Congratulations.
You always have
I want the manager to talk just a minute about what happened today. It's just
I was just going to ask
very
you.
go ahead.
Yes, please.
It's
I want
just
to hear because I couldn't make it.
very fitting that today, for so many years, the chief has worked to try to get a simulator system here to make our officers safer and our community safer. And it's just fitting that it happened before you got gone. I wish it had happened earlier, but when you were told no, you said, I'm going to keep on trying to get it, and it got here. Mr. Stevens, could you just speak just a moment about the simulator and the event today and attribute really to what the chief's all about?
Sure. Yes. So today, I guess, is a culmination of many years of work of this man. Obviously, he mentioned several years ago that one of the most important things that this city could have is a facility where they could train their officers the appropriate way to manage and de-escalate situations. anytime they're in a hostile situation, the ultimate goal is for everybody to go home safe and go home to their families and live another day. The last thing they want to do is have any kind of use of force at all. So this particular training simulation software, I was fortunate enough, and Alderman Odom was with me at the time. We were at a conference, and we went and actually got to experience this exact system that the chief brought to me about 2 years later, I think it was. And so it was really cool experience there when we got to see how this particular software could be used. And when the chief kind of brought it to me about the possibility of utilizing one of the existing sites of the city or potentially building a new site, that he had identified some people who may be interested in participating financially to help out with this situation. I think at that point, all this kind of started to come together. Initially, it was going to be a pretty large sum of money, and we worked our way through, found some partners in the community college, which is another testament to the chief and able to find these partnerships out there, just like he did with the faith-based community, to partner with working in communities of our city. So in this particular case, it was working within the community of his organization as well as other law enforcement organizations, and building those partnerships such that you could get to the fruition of a large-scale project that is going to benefit this community, not only its law enforcement officers, but citizens, because this interactive software allows them to learn, educate themselves on situational awareness and situational management. And that has a lot to do with a lot of the media that we've seen over the past year, 2 years, with regards to situational management, where sometimes excessive use of force or shootings occurred between police officers and the public. And I think is very, very admirable of the chief and his desire and his staff's desire to make this come to fruition, and I think it's going to be a great thing for this community. So, Chief, you want to add anything to that?
You hit it right on the head, and I think it's very important that they have something they can actually train on, and now they do, and it makes me excited. And I just want to thank everyone for their kind comments, and thank you for the trust that you had in me and allowing me to serve this community. And obviously, I couldn't be successful without the support of everyone, and that's what made this thing work, was the fact that people had the trust in me and the faith in me to allow me to do some crazy things. I can remember just simple things like changing National Night Out. At first it was kind of, what are you doing changing National Night Out? And then now everybody says, oh, we love National Night Out. Just little things like that, just having the trust to step out and try something new. I also remember some incidents where we were heavy-handing, and I'm not talking bad of anyone, but we were maybe a little heavy-handed in policing. And I said, no, we're not going to do that anymore. And folks looked at me, and I said, I'm going to make the community responsible for their own behavior. And if you really want to have a safe community, that's the way to do it. You have to make the community responsible for their own behavior, and that's why it's called community policing. Mm-hmm. And we are here to support and give the expertise on how to get the community safe. Not to lord over anybody, not to always be quick to put handcuffs on people, but to be able to assist the community in having a peaceful, enjoyable place where they can live, work, and play. And I just really am thankful that I've had this opportunity. I'm even more thankful for the men and women of the New Bern Police Department who also went along with my crazy ideas and supported me. And they're the ones who make it happen. They're the ones who are on the street, and I'm just proud to have served. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just real quick, I want to add, Chief Summers, he served as a police officer in this field for 42 years. Is that correct? 45 years as a law enforcement officer, and that's a heck of a career that he served that long in doing a very, very difficult, very stressful field of work. So that's very commendable as well.
Okay. Let's go to new business with Alderman Bingle.
Just a couple of things. I just wanted to comment that we're celebrating International Women's Day, ladies, and I just want to, shout out to my colleagues sitting up here, the difference that women have made in our city, our county, our state, and our region. And there's so many wonderful women to celebrate in New Bern, from Margaret Wake Tryon, who was the wife of the first colonial governor, all the way through to Bev Perdue, who was the first woman governor of this state, including my mother-in-law, Ella Bengal, to be the first woman of this woman mayor of this city, and so many other great women of color and race, color, creed that have made a difference in our city. And I see one sitting out there, what a difference Ms. Sampson has made in our city. And I think it's important that we celebrate all of them and realize the benefit that we have in all working together and promoting the good things that women have to do. So I did want to speak to that. I also want to speak to our new state representative, Steve Tyson, and his great job he did with the cleanup this Sunday. If you noticed, he was out there. He was hoping to get a few dozen people, and I think he had over 100 people show up. They cleaned up, in Township 7 in that area. But he has penned a bill to really bring heavy penalties down on people who are littering. So let's be vigilant in our community. Don't throw things out your window. Find trash cans. Our city tries to do a good job of putting trash cans out. I know I worked really hard last year or the year before. Matt Montaigne will tell you I drove him crazy trying to get trash cans in some of the Duffyfield neighborhoods because there was none, and we need trash cans throughout our city and should continue to do that. But I think it's really important. I've heard the mayor speak about the importance of picking up trash and cleaning up. So let's get out there and try to support what Representative Tyson's doing and just police our own community. My good friend Carol Moore is out here, and she is the policeman of the century when it comes to trash and walking around the neighborhood and identifying things. And her issue is just pick it up. If you see it, pick it up. And let's just try to keep our neighborhoods clean, because we all want clean, safe neighborhoods. And invite everybody to come downtown to celebrate St. Patrick's Day this Saturday. So this will be the celebration. Of course, we know now the streets are going to be closed in downtown. There'll be activities for families, and they're going to have a wagon, horse and carriage down there. So come on out and enjoy it. Of course, Art Walk is on Friday night, another thing to enjoy. Thank you all. That's it.
Alderwoman Harris.
Yes, Mr. Scott, if you could just stay after, I have a question, and then Jeff too. I have a question after that I need to ask you, but I just didn't want you to leave. Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Alderman Astor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. First thing I'd like to do is thank Matt for the issues that we had in the James City area this week with the railroad. It was a pure disaster. For a week or 10 days, the railroad posted a sign at Carolina Colors saying that on the 8th and the 9th, that crossing would be closed. Well, the morning of the 8th, that crossing wasn't closed, but all the people that read the sign decided to go in the other direction to find out that the other two intersections down was closed. It had no detour signs whatsoever. People were just roaming around trying to figure out how to get out of Taberna and Carolina Colors and Evans Mill, and could not find a way out on Highway 70. So Matt got on the phone, he talked to someone, and I said, we need a schedule. So they provided us with a schedule of the closings. I posted it on Facebook and sent a copy of it to all of my presidents of my homeowners associations, just to find out at 10 o'clock that night or so, Matt says, oh, they've changed it. So it was just a pure disaster. I could only imagine what would happen if an emergency vehicle tried to find its way into one of these subdivisions. So, Mark, don't you have a relationship with the board of directors or the president of the board of directors of Norfolk Southern Railroad?
I do not with Norfolk Southern. I do have a relationship with the VP, and there's a new president for North Carolina Railroad. I have not met him yet, but I do know some of the VPs there as well as some of the board members. Matter of fact, one of the former mayors of Durham is now the chair of the North Carolina Railroad. I assume that he's still the chair, but very, very nice gentleman. Met him on several occasions. Mayor, you're familiar with him as well. But we've been working with them on issues related to the tracks that they own, which Norfolk Southern leases and operates on.
So I think this is more of a Norfolk Southern issue than a North Carolina Railroad issue.
Yeah, it is, and we it's very interesting because this was brought up to us back when we had some discussions, and one of the things that I asked them is, hey, let us know, because we have multiple neighborhoods down in that area regarding some of the issues, and he said he would relay that to Norfolk Southern. Obviously, nothing really came out of that.
Well, as Matt told me, it made us look like a bunch of idiots, because we were posting what they were telling us was going to be closed, and then they just said, nah, we're not going to close that one today. We're going to close this one. I mean, we had people driving in circles trying to figure out how to get out because of what was supposed to be closed, and then what actually was closed. It was just a mess. The bottom line is, it's a shame that the railroad can do that without notifying the city in advance, so we can make sure that our citizens understand what's going to be closed and when it's going to be closed. I've worked with the railroad enough during my years when I was with the city that I know that's how they operate. But by Lord, it's time that somebody sends some type of communication somewhere saying that this is totally unacceptable and should not happen again. They need to give us advance notice. And Mark, I'm looking for you for advice as to who that notification, or how do we get that notification to them. Well, we need to be stern about this, because this was ridiculous.
Alderman Astor, the only person that I know of that would have any kind of teeth whatsoever with any of the railroads would be the federal government. So that's the only route that I would know to go.
Well, that's like spitting in the wind. I mean,
you could certainly talk to the congressman, but why not write a letter or a resolution to North Carolina Railroad and start there and talk to our legislators? I mean, it could be, and Scott, I don't know, can we ask for legislation to be put in place where they have to notify us, or, something like that, where, I mean, these are simple. We're not asking them not to do the work or whatever, that they must give X amount of days of notice, it must be posted. Simple things like that, we can send those requests, and to me, that's stern enough to know that we mean business, get it in front of the state and North Carolina Railroad. It's amazing when you call their leadership and you bring things before.
I agree with you. I'm happy to do whatever at the board's direction. It's very interesting that they've got to honk 3 times before they move across an intersection and comply with that law and that regulation. But obviously, when it comes to crossing roads, they're not going to comply with any regulations whatsoever regarding the safety of people that live around those areas. So.
Well, they actually, I think it was last night. They actually last night put the roadblock up in front of Taberna. And that wasn't even, I don't even think that one was on their schedule to be done today. But at 8 o'clock last night when I was trying to go home, the road was completely closed. And now I see where they've got the barricades staged at Colors. And I don't know if that road's closed now or not, but I can tell you people were trying to go out Williams Road and then go through the airport. Of course, the airport's closed, so you had to turn around and drive all the way back to Thurman Road, which was supposed to be closed, to get out.
Alderman Astor and the board, let me just a quick update. Everything Alderman Astor said is no exaggeration. It's been a heck of a couple of days with the railroad. But we are in communication with the railroad every afternoon now at 4:30 in the afternoon to make sure we know what their schedule is for the next day. We will not post anything, we will not share anything unless we know exactly at 4:30 or 5 o'clock today what they are doing tomorrow. And at 4:45 today, we talked to the railroad. There are no planned scheduled closings for tomorrow.
What?
There
Nothing
are no
closing tomorrow?
For tomorrow.
Well, when I was coming here tonight, they were putting the barricades out at Carolina Colors.
It will not be closed tomorrow. It is potentially scheduled to be closed on Friday. But once we can verify that Thursday afternoon, we will make that we'll send an email to you and we'll post that. But we are touching base with them every afternoon so we can
Well,
give them those up-to-date
I appreciate
information.
your effort, Matt. I mean, you've been over backwards to help me on this, because every time I'd send an email, some of y'all might have been watching it, every time I'd send an email out, and a few minutes later it would change and I'd have to send another one out. I finally gave up and I said, I don't know what these people are doing. You know, the best thing I can tell you to do is to leave 30 minutes early and hope that you can find a way to get out on Highway 70. But the bottom line is you had to go reach out to them to get the information. And when they're closing streets inside of our city and without telling us, I don't even have any idea if they notified public safety or not. But when they should not be allowed to close a street within inside our city limits without notifying us in advance. Maybe we need isn't it already an ordinance that we can't close streets without the board's permission?
That applies to
You got
railroads.
railroad right away.
I
That's
know,
the
but
problem.
couldn't we stop? I mean, couldn't we send somebody out there and say, you've not notified anybody, whatever, I'm sorry, until you get the
Not the
correct
railroad.
permissions?
I would expect as a federal law to give them control over their rails. That would be my expectation.
Well, federal law, I know, controls it, but common courtesy is what we deserve here. And I mean, it's a shame, and it's a matter of public safety. I mean, people going to work is not a life and death situation, although it's frustrating when you're trying to get to work and you're 30 minutes late because you don't know how to get out on the highway. But I'm just concerned of what would happen if an ambulance, a police officer, or anything else, knowing that Carolina Colors was supposed to be closed and it wasn't, it was open, and so they turned down Williams Road to find it closed, and then they go down Gibbs Road or whatever name it is, and it's closed, and everywhere you go is closed except for where it's supposed to be closed. But the bottom line is somebody needs to let Norfolk Southern Railroad know that we are not happy over how they handled this situation and that it should not ever happen again. And Matt, thank you again. I bothered you late at night worrying about this stuff, and I apologize.
I will tell you,
for
we
that.
are not the only ones. We've heard from Greenville. I think Greenville had a bigger issue than we did. So it's typical for what they're doing, but yes, I agree. It's been a heck of a
Well, it sounds like it might be something that Congressman Murphy needs to find out about.
Yeah,
then.
I say, put it on them.
I wish Morehead City luck.
So what are we going to do? Who do we contact? What are we going to do?
I'll do whatever the board wishes for me to do. I can draft up a strongly worded letter for Norfolk Southern and North Carolina Railroad, copy both of them, and then also copy our legislators if that's what the board would like.
I would love for you to do that, Mark. Thank you.
That's fine.
Is that what the
Is the
board?
board good with that?
Yes.
Sure.
And if it's okay, just to make sure I get, an agreement of somebody from the board, I'll let the mayor review it just to make
That's-
sure that he's cool
Yeah,
with it,
sure.
and then we'll sign it when send it off.
That's perfect. Thank you very much.
Sounds
I have
good.
nothing else, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Kinsey.
Yes. Matt, could you come to the podium again, please? Could you share with us a little bit about the moving of the silt and the areas that the contractors are working in now?
Sure. What we've got is that you're referring to the Cat A FEMA projects. And what we've got is we've got 10 Cat A projects in each one of our drainage basin areas. All of those 10 projects have been bid out, and all but one have been awarded. That last project was open this past Friday and will be on your next agenda to award that project. Of the other projects, all of them but two have already started construction. 3 of the drainage basins have been completed. 2 or 3 or more are still under construction. And we will move forward with the last 2 as soon as we get approved. So we've got, all in all, we've got 10 projects or 10 basins. We're doing sediment removal. I don't have all the quantities in front of me or dollar amounts in front of you, but we are working on all the drainage basins in the city, all the drainage ditches. And then we are coming back behind that with another set of projects to do category D work, which is permanent work, which is replacement of some of the head walls, installing riprap, replacing some pipe work. So that's another set of projects that will be going out to bid here soon, and we'll start But all in all, it's a very large-scale project that we've been working on for the last year and a half, 2 years, and we'll probably be working on for the next year and a half. But it is over the entire city, and it's dealing just with drainage.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it, sir.
Alderman Best?
Yes. I just want to say I am so happy to see Miss Sampson here with us tonight. It is, you don't know how it was really saddening when I look out there in the audience and couldn't see you, because you are a faithful, true pioneer, and you are a pillar of the community in this city. And it's so happy to see you with us tonight. Also, I want to piggyback on what Alderman Binga said. This is dedication and salutes and thank you to our women. And we can't forget Alderman Barbara Lee. She was the first African American to serve on this board, so I want to thank her as well. And Matt, I want to say thank you. I saw your crew was finalizing the property, the 3 parcels out on Highway 55. It's really looking good, and the citizens was really happy about that. And also the Cat A projects that's going on right now. I just want to let you know, because we always have, sometimes we have our citizens that are upset and they complain and they fuss and they bicker, and they have a right to do that. But I just want to let the board know and the citizens know that I've had so many phone calls from people living over in Ward 5. They are so happy with the results of what the contractors are doing, digging out those ditches, taking away debris. And I even had one young lady, and I'm not going to say her name tonight because I didn't ask for permission to, but she said that she was going to fix lunch for the crew that was cleaning out over in her area. So I just wanted to let you know that, yes, our citizens, they do thank us for the service that we provide to them, and I just want to let y'all know that. And it was one more thing. Oh, last but not the least, it may seem small to some people, but it's big to me, and it's big to the people that live in Ward 5 on the west end of New Bern, that they are so happy that they're finally getting, after 20 to 25 years of asking, a community center. And I could not have done it without the support of all of you. You're all special to me. And if we weren't going through COVID, I think I would kiss 4 of you and hug 2 of you. But since we're experiencing COVID, I'm going to keep my mask on and do what's right. But I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Couldn't have done it without you. And the citizens, they're just overjoyed. So I just want to say that to all of you. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Alderman Odom.
Mayor, I'm going to go off script just for a minute. I think we all know what a fortunate city we have in New Bern, and I have the honor of sitting on the hospital board. And the hospital has received acclamations through the years. We were the first 5-star hospital, and we were first multiple-year 5-star hospital in North Carolina. But just we had a board meeting this morning. I wanted to share something with you. I think the community would be interested in knowing this. So the North Carolina Business Journal came out with their rankings, and Carolina East was ranked 6 in North Carolina. All of them ahead of us. You're talking about Duke, you're talking about UNC, you're talking about the big hospitals that are twice the size we are. So we're extremely fortunate to have them. But the one ranking, and our CEO will tell you that all these rankings are flawed. There's none of them are perfect. But the one that really stood out to me tonight that caused me to want to share this with you all, there are 6,090 hospitals in the United States of America. Newsweek just ranked Carolina East 115. And if you don't think that's special, to have that sort of health care and hospital in our community, we are extremely blessed and fortunate to have that. So I just want to share that. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I did have a question. For the April 13th meeting, is it possible that we don't have any public hearings put on there, or the capability to do Wi-Fi, I have a procedure, and I'm probably not gonna be able to make that one, and I want to be able to be in the meeting, but I don't want to physically be here. So, will we have the Zoom capability, and because of always having to extend it 24 hours, can we just make sure we don't put any public hearings on there?
Yeah, I don't know of any coming up, but I can't. Yeah, so we'll call for it on the 13th? We'll call for it.
Call for it on March 23rd, but it will not be held until April, the last meeting.
The last meeting in April, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got one coming up that will be called for at the next board meeting, but it will not occur until the second meeting in April. So we're not anticipating any. I just don't know about holding up applicants in their process legally just because we don't want to. I don't know if that's a proper way, but we can look into that.
Regardless, our process is that we can hold the public hearing, we can't vote, we can't do anything.
Right.
Because if we don't have a full,
Yeah,
we
you
don't
can
have the
still-
full board, she could be on the internet or, on Zoom or whatever, listening, so we are gonna have to revisit it anyway if you're not in place.
That's correct.
If we have to do something, I would hope we could delay it.
We'll certainly try to work with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a heads up, because I know that we need to be here so it can move forward, so I'm more than likely not gonna be there, because I'm
Sure.
gonna be in Chapel Hill, so I just wanna be able to attend.
Anybody else? Do we need a closed session tonight? Is there any other business to come before the Newburgh Board of Aldermen at this time?
Motion adjourned.
Second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. The motion carries.